Okay.
Awesome. All right, Charlotte.
Good. Okay, well, hello, everybody. Good
Hello.
evening for you.
Yeah.
Who's in America right now?
Me.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we want to start off maybe by introducing ourselves. There's the three of us ambassadors, and we are in Japan. My name is Charlotte. I am from Virginia. I have a somewhat atypical teaching setup. I'm a part-time teacher. I work between different cities, and I kind of get to choose my schedule. And I also freelance in between those two jobs at a bunch of different places, doing a bunch of different random things. So any atypical questions that you have later, please address to me. And we also have...
I'm Shana. I have been living in Japan for 3 years almost now. This is my 3rd year. My first 2 years I was teaching eikaiwa. Now I am working as an ALT, mainly at a junior high school, and I also do online teaching with VIP Kid. So I'm busy a lot, but also have lots of time to like travel and do things and hang out with this lovely lady here, and it's awesome. So Kelsie?
Right on.
Hello, my name is Kelsie. I'm from Texas, and I live in the very south part of Japan in Kyushu, and I work for an eikaiwa, so I work about 6 days a week, but I get random holidays throughout the month, so it's pretty good. I get to travel a lot, so this is my first year in Japan, so I'm loving it.
And Kyushu looks so beautiful.
Mhm.
Shana and I are both in Kyoto.
Yes.
So
I spent my first 2 years in a more countryside area, so I know a little bit about that. I lived in Hikone. I don't know if any of you know where that is, but now I'm in Kyoto. So,
and I also lived 1 year in big city Osaka. So
yep. All right.
Cool.
So-
All right. So I have some questions for you guys before we start. Hi, new person on their phone in the store. How's it going? So how many of you, or said you're in the States, how many of you are taking the online class?
I already took mine.
Yeah, took or are taking. Okay.
I've completed mine already.
Great. Congratulations.
Oh, did you get it?
No. Sorry. We have a mosquito.
Bummer.
It's okay.
Damn it.
I'm taking mine now. Curious. How are you seeing us all right now? Are you able to see all of the people who are in here? Because I can only see one person at a time.
Whoever's talking, their picture comes up as the biggest one, but we can see a bunch of them across the top of the screen.
Okay, so if I just raise my hand, that's good.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Is anybody taking a class on site?
Alumni.
Alumni, what's up? Oh yeah, I watched your story, I think. I think you were right before me. Where are you? You're in Croatia?
Me?
Yeah. Sierra.
I'm in Japan. I'm in Sendai area, Miyagi.
Oh, Miyagi, cool. Okay. Anybody else on site? Maybe you have to say something so your picture will pop up.
Okay, I'm so sorry. My Wi-Fi just cut out.
It's okay, Kelsie. No worries. We haven't gotten into the questions yet.
Okay.
So no worries.
Mm-hmm. And how many people are already teaching? Like you're already somewhere else? Okay. Rebecca.
Me.
Sarah.
Scrolling through.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Robin.
Sarah, where are you teaching? Maybe she can.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Spacebar will unmute.
No problem. All right, and a couple more. Who, if you are still in the United States, who's planning on applying to jobs from abroad versus coming to Japan?
Oh, congratulations.
Yay.
That's awesome.
Yay.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
And last question is, what is your main priority, I guess,
Yes.
is it more important to you to make money or to have free time and more of an experience?
So raise your hand if you want to prioritize making money, and please keep your hand up so I can scroll through and see. Okay. Don't be ashamed. No, it's
Don't
it's
be
fine.
shy.
Yeah,
Don't be
there's
shy.
nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I've had my 2-year experience, but now I'm ready to go back to making money.
Okay, fair.
I mean,
fair.
if I wanted to make money, I would just stay here. But I mean, I would just stay here and teach. But I want to go overseas because, you know, that's the experience that I want.
Well, I mean, if money is your priority, Korea and China, you can live
Yes.
in
Right.
Japan.
Yeah.
The cost of living is
Mhm.
lower. However, the standard of living in Japan is, in my opinion, much
Much better.
higher.
Higher,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
there's
Has
like
anybody taught or lived in Korea before coming to Japan?
I personally have not taught in Korea. I have been to Korea a lot, and I do have a few friends who teach there. So I know a little bit about it, but I don't have my own personal experience there. However, I have considered moving there in the future. So anyway, is that it?
Great. Yeah. So let's move
Okay.
along. We have a list of questions
Yes.
that you guys sent in. So we want to address those, but still leave some time at the end so we can talk with you guys who are actually here today
Yes.
and make sure that we get all of your questions.
Yes. All right. So our first question comes from Kelsie Farmer, and she asks, or Kelly Farmer, sorry. She asks, availability of teaching jobs that start outside of the traditional year start time, i.e. late spring. And Ellie Feldman asks, if taking the online TEFL course, at what point does it make sense to start applying for jobs? I'm looking to go the non-public school route, so time of year is less important. And Forrest Bierman asks, how long did it take to find a job? Kelsie, please take it away.
Okay. So with my particular job, the hiring season is all year round. Since I work for a non-traditional school, they're hiring all year round. And I personally, I got hired in the springtime, and then I came in October. So if you're looking to go the non-traditional route, they're definitely hiring all year round.
Yes. And even ALT, you can apply anytime. The main starting time is in April, but they do have people who start in August, unless you're working for JET. JET starts halfway through the school year for some crazy reason. So anytime you're ready to start applying, start applying. Some jobs will not look at you until you have your certificate done, however.
It's also worth noting that the Japanese school year is different than the American school year. It begins in, did you get it?
No.
It begins in.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. I thought.
In April, right?
Yes, it starts in April. And it's strange. The school year here is strange. It's kind of like year-round school, but they do get breaks. And if you're working as an ALT, you get a lot of breaks.
However, you cannot choose when they are.
Yes.
So if you're working ALT public school, you're going to get a lot of holidays. However, you can't choose them. So you're off with everybody else.
You get 5 days you can choose anytime, and that's it.
Right.
So question number 2. Susan Singh asks, how rigorous was your job interview process? Miss Kelsie, please take it away.
Okay, my job interview process was very easy. I applied online, and I work for a big company that recruit people from all over
Kelsie, pause
the
for
world.
just a second. If you are not talking, can you please mute your mic? There's some strange sound coming in, and it's really distracting. So if you're not talking, please mute your microphone. Thank you.
Okay,
Continue,
that's
Kelsie.
great. Yeah, so I work for a big recruiting company, and what I did was apply online, and then they emailed me. I sent in 2 employment references, and then I did a Skype interview. And the Skype interview was like really quick. It was like 30 minutes, and then I did a 5-minute demo lesson where I basically just sang a song and did like, I like apples and different foods. And they laid it out for you in the email what they wanted you to teach and say. So it was very easy. And then I got the job.
Mine was similar also. I applied from America to a job in Japan through Dave's ESL Cafe. I don't know if anybody's using that job board. Yeah, I see you guys. Yeah, it's a way to apply directly to the jobs versus through a big company. And I had 2 separate phone calls where they were like vetting people out. And then I had 2 Skype interviews also. And that was my process.
Yeah, the interview process is pretty similar, I think, no matter what your job is. Some jobs, when you look on those message boards, they do require that you are already in Japan.
A lot of them, yeah.
Especially if you're looking at the more local schools, not your big companies, not your eikaiwas, not your ALT dispatch companies. But if you have the funds to come here for a job interview, more power to you. So
I think we have more on that later.
Yeah. So question number 3, Martino Sawyer asks, this is a long combination of questions. Let's talk about eikaiwa versus ALT or other forms of employment. Anyone out there have information on the GABA school? Bryant Warren asks, are there other programs other than JET that offer the same opportunities and benefits? I have heard many horror stories from people working at other companies, and I would really like to avoid that happening. Christopher Moore asks, how easy is it to find a job outside of the JET program, and what is a realistic time frame to have from the time of completing the TEFL certificate program? So I'm going to start with this one, and then Kelsie can add a lot to it as well, I'm sure. I worked at eikaiwa for 2 years, and now I do ALT. So basically, there's a lot of differences between the two, but the main differences are what your schedule is and what your lifestyle is. So working eikaiwa, you typically work a lot of evenings, and then you're not going to have weekends off unless you're in a special circumstance. So if you are not a morning person, you don't want to wake up in the morning, and you like to have your entire morning to yourself, work in the evening, eikaiwa is a better lifestyle choice for you. If you want to go to work, bang out your day, have your evenings to yourself, then ALT is a better choice for you. ALT also varies based on what type of school you get put at, whether it's elementary, junior high school, or high school. You're more likely to be at an elementary school than anything, least likely to be at a high school. And so your schedule will vary slightly there. However, the main thing with that is how you will teach your classes and the type of energy that you will need. Working eikaiwa, it depends on the eikaiwa you're working for. You might end up teaching mainly adults, or you might be at a more kids-oriented eikaiwa. You might be teaching a mix of the two, but no matter what you're doing, you don't have a lot of choice in the age that you teach. When you sign up for eikaiwa, you get what classes they give you, and you teach them with a smile on your face. And if you go and you become an ALT and they tell you you're going to work at an elementary school, then be genki and enjoy it, because there's something you can find to enjoy about all of the classes and all of the students.
Just in case anybody doesn't know and is too shy to admit it, Shana, what is an eikaiwa?
Oh, eikaiwa is basically after school, like cram school, that students come to learn conversational English. So there are grammar points that are taught and focused on, obviously, but a big portion of it is just conversation.
Supplementary. Yeah, so they have all their core classes, and then they'll come learn English after.
Sorry.
Yeah. And Kelsie, Peppy Kids is an eikaiwa type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's an eikaiwa. It's like a a private language club. So yeah, like Shana was saying, our classes usually start at 5 p.m. or 6:15 p.m. and then usually end at 8:30 or 9:45.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excuse me, if I can ask a question.
Sure.
So I've heard eikaiwas compared to the Korean version of the hagwon, which is like the after school and that kind of thing. And I had a friend who worked at a hagwon, and she just described the experience as working with children who are just exhausted because they've already been in school all day. And, you know, she just said it was it was basically a traumatizing experience for her because the children were just so overwhelmed. And would you, you know, and I know the two the two are compared a lot, Eikaiwa and Hagwon, but would you say that your experience was anything like that? And, you know,
Some of the kids, yeah.
I've had people say, you know, don't go for the Eikaiwa, you know, go for public school because of that.
No. I would not use that as your reasoning to choose either Eikaiwa or ALT, because some of the Eikaiwa kids, they're exhausted. They work hard. Some of them, you know, they start school at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. They go all day. They have their clubs, and they have to come to Eikaiwa after school, and they're there until 9:30. 10 o'clock, depending on your Eikaiwa. It's hard. The kids here have a lot to do. They have a huge schedule, and it's very busy. But I would not say that it is disheartening in any way, because a lot of those kids are amazing. And like, I have never liked kids. I was terrified to teach children when I first started. So when they were like, here's a bunch of kids classes, I was like, oh God, I'm gonna die. And then, you know, once I started to get into it, like, they're so cute and so funny. And if you just go in there with a smile and you're having a good time, they want to have a good time too. So
Gotcha.
There's also like a cultural aspect to that, I think. Japanese kids are like like they do not run out of like study energy, and like kids are kids everywhere. I think that's important to note, that like, maybe Japanese kids are more respectful, maybe they study more, but kids are kids everywhere. But it's just their lifestyle. It's very common for them to be in school or doing an activity all the time. So while it does seem like really kind of cruel and unusual to make them go to school after they've already done like 9 or 10 hours of school, it's pretty much the norm for them. And that it kind of brings up your teaching style. If you can enjoy it and you can make it fun for them, then they're not going to see it as
right. And I had to consider
like
that and say, if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. And you know,
and I
so
think
I know that at least I'm going to put in an effort. And you
those
know,
priorities that I asked you guys about also I think play into it, like, you know, what you want out of it is what kind of job you should apply for.
Now, as far as outside of the JET program, there are a lot of other opportunities outside of JET. And JET is a great program because they do pay very well. You get a lot of very good benefits out of it. However, you have zero choice in where you go. And 9 out of 10 times you will end up in the middle of nowhere. And that can happen at other teaching jobs as well. But I feel like other teaching jobs, you can have the little more of a firm say in at least the general vicinity that you would like to be in. JET is a wonderful program. I will not say anything bad about it. I don't have personal experience with it. I do have friends who have worked for JET and had lovely experiences. I've had friends who have worked for JET and ended up schools in the middle of nowhere and they were not happy. That happens at every school. JET is not the only option. I work for Interac. I've had an amazing experience with Interac. I worked for Nova, and I made a lot of money with Nova. And, you know, there are benefits and drawbacks to all of it. But everybody has a bad experience at different places, and it just depends on what you're looking for, what type of company is the best to apply for you. Most of the companies here, we're not their priority. We're just not. The students are the priority. Making money is the priority. And you got to be a part of that team and you got to sell it. And if you're not willing to be a part of that team, then you're not going to like the job, no matter what it is. So, yeah. All right. Next question. Kelsie, do you have anything to add?
I do. With my company, they placed me. I didn't have a choice on where they placed me. And you can request a place, but you're not guaranteed to get it. So I ended up in way down south.
Yeah.
But it looks so nice there.
It really does. It looks beautiful.
I personally would love to be placed in the countryside. Like, it wouldn't have bothered me to be in a tiny village in the middle of rice paddies, but that is not for everyone.
It's not.
Take that into consideration.
All right. Question number 4. Alec Peterson asks, what's the adjustment like for people who have limited to no Japanese language skills? So I know we both came, I knew 2 words in Japanese, hello and thank you, and my pronunciation was horrific. I was in the countryside. I honestly had no big problems. And mind you, people did not speak English, but people are very nice. And they're mostly willing to work with you. And if you try, they will try. And it's doable. It's not easy, but it's doable. I didn't have any huge issues.
I think it's quite common for teachers to come over speaking no Japanese.
Yeah.
Did you, Kelsie?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, like Shana, I knew hello and thank you and a couple other words, but.
Okay, does anybody at home planning on coming to Japan speak Japanese? I see no hands.
No.
Oh wait, I
there's
see
a
one.
couple hands. There's a couple
Yeah.
hands.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
But it's pretty common not to, and don't worry about it, because the things that you need to know, you will pick up on because you're going to hear them over and over, and nothing's better than learning it in context in a real situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't
Japanese
have
now?
to have.
I can have conversational Japanese. It's not great. Like, I'm not fantastic or anything, but like when we go places and we talk to people, they're like, "Oh, you're fluent," and we're like, "No, slow down," because like
they're so excited.
They're so
like,
excited.
If you try.
Yeah.
So like a small vocabulary can get you really, really far. But if you want to learn it fluently, it's not something you just pick up. It's not intuitive like a Romance language.
But you will pick up a lot more being here, and you will sound a lot more natural than somebody who like hasn't been around, actual Japanese speakers, especially because you'll be learning the dialect for whatever area you're living in. So
It sounds very different from anime.
Oh yes, it is nothing like anime.
But then sometimes it doesn't at all, and you're like, oh my god,
My life.
this is real.
So, question number 5. Samantha Manzano asks, how do taxes work there, Miss Charlotte?
Oh god, okay, life, death, taxes. So I think that this depends entirely on what kind of contract you have. If you're part-time, if you're full-time, and what agreement you have with your company. As a part-time worker, my main taxes are not taken out of my paycheck. They take out my working tax, but I have to pay my healthcare separately, and I have to pay my resident tax separately. Everybody will have to do that, their residence or their city tax. And in my experience, it's been quite easy. Like, you have to sign up for that and let them know what's what. But they send you the bills in the mail, and you can take the bills to your local convenience store.
But that's only for your city tax.
Right. And your health insurance.
And your health insurance, yeah.
Right.
Your income tax is separate.
Right. So if you're working full-time, depending on your contract, they might take it out for you, and you don't have to worry about it. But there are some situations in which that's not the case, and it's a lot more work.
Yes. Working my first job, had to do all of my taxes myself. And so that was a hellish process where you go to the tax office and you bring in all your papers and you look at them pleadingly and just, I don't understand. And they make you do a lot of math and then give you a giant bill that you have to pay. And it's for the previous year.
Yeah, that's definitely worth noting. The first year you come to Japan, your taxes will be really light because it's based on your previous year's income. And if you weren't making any money last year, then you're going to get like the rock bottom thing. But when you stay to teach a second year, a third year, be aware that those are going to go way up.
My health insurance jumped. My first year I was paying $20 a month for my health insurance. My second year, it was $200 a month. So be prepared for the major price increase that will happen.
Right. It's still doable.
It's
and
doable.
Manageable. And you can get healthcare. They want you to have healthcare, which is, more important, really, in my opinion.
How many years have you guys been there?
This is my third year and
me
her
too.
third year. So, yeah.
Okay.
First year.
Second year, Rebecca. First year, Kelsie.
Yeah. Next question. We got to speed it along, guys. Sorry. Heather Davis asks, how difficult or easy is it to get around initially? And Caitlin Pruitt asks, is public transportation a feasible option outside of Tokyo? Is it common for foreign teachers in Japan to drive? As an American, I would be nervous to drive on the left. Charlotte.
Okay, public transportation here is great. I'm from the country in Virginia. We have cornfields and that's it. But the network of buses, trains, subways can really, really get you almost anywhere. Like, it's amazing. And they're clean and they're punctual, and it can be expensive to go long distance.
It can be.
But it's there for you. So I have never had an issue with driving. However, if you do drive, you really do get accustomed to driving on the left. Rebecca, do you drive? Yes. Do you want to give us something really quick about it, since you have firsthand?
Yes, I have a rental car from my company, and the first few weeks, because I've never driven in a country on the left, I wasn't sure how I would go. I did have to remind myself, stay on the left, stay on the left, stay on the left. But after that, it was the same. All my previous, learning to drive prior, I shifted
still applies
to the left side. It still applies. You just kind of change hands, and it was okay. So
it's kind of like walking on the left. You sort of just rewire. Kelsie, do you drive at all?
Yeah, I do. I have my permit, so I can just rent a car whenever I want to go somewhere that buses or somewhere that, I can't go by public transportation.
Yeah, there are places that are difficult to get to if you don't have a vehicle.
But that's mainly like nature.
Yeah.
Anything in a city. But anything in the city, like, you can get there by public transportation. Yeah. And it's,
even town to town.
Yeah. To get from Kyoto to Osaka, I do this every week. It's about an hour. Yeah. And it's very common at this for your company to reimburse your transportation costs.
Yes.
You have to pay it up front, but you get it back.
Yes. Next question.
Yeah, you covered that in your story. It was really good.
Kyla McFarland asks, how do you deal with banking, and what banks do you use, US and or JP? Kelsie, would you like to talk about your banking?
Yeah, sure. I use JP. So when I first got here, my supervisor took me to JP and basically helped me set up a bank account, and that's how I get paid. But I only have a cash card, so and I don't usually send money home. I think Shana knows a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I also bank with JP Bank. I chose it because it's the only bank that is everywhere in Japan. So if I want to go somewhere else, if I want to, I see your card there. If I want to, move anywhere, I don't have to worry about not being able to use my bank. And I transfer money home every month. They have a new online system. It's $20 for the wire fee, but it's super easy. You just go in and you transfer it over, and it's fine. So.
In a lot of cases, however, your company will choose the bank for you. My company selected SMBC, so I had no choice. They set it up for me, and that's how I get paid.
Yes.
And it's worth noting also that you can use those cards at different places. It just might not be your bank.
And you might get a fee.
Yeah.
So
like 7-Eleven or a convenience store.
Yeah, there are some ATMs that specifically cater to stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do want to add, it says the meeting has no time limitation anymore.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, we'll still get through these fast so we can get to your questions.
Yes, we don't want to take up everybody's time for too long. Next question. Howard Hufford asks, for a city such as Kyoto, what would the living expenses each month be around? Housing, electric, water, internet, and the like, not including food. Kelsie, do you want to go first and talk about your housing expenses?
Yeah, so mine, I would say, is a little bit more expensive because my company provided my housing. I pay around $500 $500 a month for my housing, and they take it out of my check before I get paid. And then, like, if you wanted to get an apartment on your own, it would probably be cheaper, but I guess, like, it would be more difficult
It's not.
Like if you don't speak, oh, it's not?
It's so easy. There's another question about that later. I'll get into it. It's so easy. I'll explain.
Okay, yeah, that's what I pay for my apartment, around $500, and that includes water.
Oh, that's
nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Lucky. All right, Charlotte. What is your housing living expenses?
I have been very lucky. My company paid for my flight over. My first company gave me a stipend of about like $300 that I could use for housing, and now my company more or less provides my housing and covers the utilities. So find a good company that covers your shit.
When I first moved here, my living expenses in the countryside were exactly the same as what I'm paying living in Kyoto. And that's mainly because my company provided my housing when I moved into the countryside. They move you into housing that is basically for people who most likely will not be here for but a couple months. And that's great and dandy if you plan to stay for less than a year. But it is more expensive. So I pay, my housing in both places was around $500 US. And then for utilities, electric, gas, water, it's anywhere from $50 to $100 depending on the month and how hot or cold it is. And then when it comes to internet, the first place I lived, I paid about $15 a month for my internet. Here, it's included, so I don't pay it. And yeah, that's it for that one. Next question. Jeffrey Sabert asks, how are older teachers viewed during the job hunting process? Should I target eikaiwas, business English, teaching focused companies as opposed to elementary and secondary schools? Veronica Burke asks, I'm over 60 but have advanced degrees, master's and PhD, and many years of teaching in college. Are there mandatory retirement age laws in Japan? If not, will my education and years of teaching experience give me an edge over younger candidates? I prefer to teach at a university, but open to high school age students. What companies and or schools do you recommend I look into? So I don't know about retirement age laws in Japan. However, if you are an older person looking for a job in Japan, you can find one. I know that eikaiwas have no problem hiring people who are older. I worked with quite a few people who were in their 40s, 50s, 60s at eikaiwa. And obviously they had no issues getting a job. If you want to be an ALT, it's going to be a little bit of a different story. Some of the ALT companies do have age requirements. Some of them do not. I know Interact, we do have a few people who are a little bit older who work for Interact as teachers. And then as far as what you should look at, if you are only open to teaching high school students, do not apply as an ALT because you do not get to choose what age you teach. If you are only open to teaching high school and university students, I recommend applying directly to the schools. If you don't want to teach kids at all, you don't want to teach eikaiwa either because, again, you don't have a choice. You get the students that they give you. And you may end up with 99% adults or you may end up with 99% kids. It all depends on the eikaiwa that you work for.
Yeah, I think it's good to focus your search, maybe like adult conversation classes, business English. University, of course, is looking for older, more qualified people. But it is a little bit unfair because Japan is very focused on image. So, you know, when I submitted my resume, I, blued up my eyes and blonded up my hair, and I got every job that I applied for because they really, really are very interested in image. So, I mean, expect for that to play in. There are some people that are looking for an image.
Exactly.
But don't let that discourage you. But yeah.
It's a factor, but it's not going to stop you. Yeah.
Next question. Stephen Haas asks, what advice would you give to new teachers who are teaching for the first time in Japan? And Dante Jenkins asks, what has been some challenges you have faced. Kelsie, would you like to go first?
Some challenges I have faced, I guess, would be the language barrier when I first got here. And also, like, with my particular job, I'm alone with the kids, so I don't have a fluent Japanese speaker there with me. So sometimes it can be a little difficult, especially when I first got here, because the kids are just like saying all this stuff in Japanese, and you're just like, I don't know, like, so you just try to go on with the lesson, and but that gets easier with time. Like Charlotte said, you'll start picking up on words or something like that, and also you get to know your kids, so you know how they learn and what makes them tick, I guess. And then also, I guess, like, where I live, there's not a lot of English. I know, like, Kyoto, there's a lot of English in the, like, on the buses or whatever. But when I first got here, I was like, oh, I can't read anything. So that was a little difficult. But I will say Google Translate is very good.
Oh, Susume recommended. Download Google Translate before you come.
Yes. Download Google Translate and download the dictionary part of it, so that way it works even when you're not connected to the internet.
Yeah, a lot of big cities will have a lot of English, which is really nice. But if you go into more rural parts and you try to read a bus schedule, yeah. Where I lived at first, I was in the same situation, Kelsie, and it was like, no idea what that says. Guess I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
But like y'all were saying, like, everyone's really willing to help you, and they're also very interested, and like they get really excited that foreign people live here, and they're like, oh, thank you for being here. And you're like, okay, thank you, but like I'm just trying to get on the bus.
Yeah. Do you have any advice, any words of wisdom?
I guess not words of wisdom, because you'll have to figure it out when you get here. But one of the weirdest things for me was sticking out so much. And that'll also be more so in smaller areas versus bigger cities. But America is very diverse and multicultural. And here it's not. It's very homogenous across the board. It's like everybody has black hair, and everybody's going to be wearing white or beige or black or dark blue. And if you're tall and your hair's not black and you're wearing something that's not beige or dark blue,
you have tattoos, you have piercings,
you just you really, really stick out, and people are always watching you, and it really bothers some people. It's something you have to accept, I think. It's not malicious in any way, but like you really are the center of attention because you stick out, and that's no matter how hard you try or what you do.
Exactly.
Yep.
For me, my biggest piece of advice, and it doesn't matter whether you're coming to Japan or you're going to another country, your attitude is going to make the difference with everything.
Absolutely.
People who come here and try to get into a classroom, whether it's Eikaiwa or ALT or something else, and they have a bad attitude and they're not willing to step a little bit outside of their comfort zone, and they're not willing to try, and they're not willing to do something that is maybe difficult for them, they have a bad experience and they leave very quickly. And you have to be willing to be uncomfortable and to put yourself out there, or you're not going to have a good experience, and you're not going to meet people, and you're going to be lonely. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. And Japanese people, it's a cultural thing. A lot of them, they will not open up to you, especially right away. So if you want to have those relationships with people, you have to put in the effort. Otherwise, you're not going to make friends who are Japanese. Anyway, you'll meet foreigners, and that's it. And if you're coming here to meet foreigners, that's cool, but there's a lot of really amazing Japanese people that you can become close to who will make such an incredible difference in your life in so many ways.
Yeah, the experience is so different. Like, you really get into the culture more when you interact and meet and like befriend people who live here.
Come with a good attitude, be open and willing to put yourself
Abandon your comfort zones.
Yes.
They're gone.
They're gone. Destroyed. All right. Next question. I lost it. Scrolled up. Sorry. Okay, here we are. Will Henricks asks, was the Japanese working life hard to adapt to at first, and how is it balancing time for work, socializing, and traveling? Kelsie, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I would say I'm not truly in the Japanese working culture. Like, since I work around a lot of foreigners, I'm not really in that culture. But I would say, like, from an outside perspective, I adapted just fine. I mean, like, they laid out my hours, like, what times I would be working, and, you know, that doesn't change. I don't have to, like, work overtime or anything. And, yeah, I get to travel a lot. So every month, usually, I'll do something or travel somewhere. And then my schedule is like a little different from others. So I have 3 different schools that I travel to in the month. And so I teach at 1 school per week. And then usually the last week of the month, I have to do coverage or I have random days off. So, you know, if I have 4 days off, I can just go to Hong Kong if I want to, or, you know, do whatever I want. So
nice.
That's nice. I've also been able to travel quite a bit. And that's part of my schedule, like being part-time in selecting jobs that are flexible. And since I'm not in the traditional school system, I can travel when other people aren't on vacation. My first job, I had a lot of foreigners around me, so it was very easy. There wasn't much adapting required. However, now I work at some smaller schools where nobody but me speaks English. So it's like Shana said, you put yourself out of your comfort zone and, you know, be confident, be humble. And it's a little bit harder, but it's nothing that you can't control. You just tell yourself that you can.
I think as a foreigner, our expectations are not the same as Japanese people. They're just not. Even at a regular school, all the other teachers, they stay super late, super late. And I'm like, no, you're not paying me by. Like, sorry, I'll stay. I'll be a little bit of a part of the team. I'll go to some of the club activities and do these things to be involved because I want to, you know, enjoy the culture and I want my students to be engaged with me in the classroom. But we're not expected to do the same things as the Japanese teachers are. You are expected to be on time. On time is not exactly on time. On time is 15 minutes early. And if you are not 15 minutes early, they will be like, oh, so-and-so's late. And you won't get your job again. They will not re-sign your contract. You must be early. You must look nice. You must look professional. There will be people, depending on your job, if you are working in Kaiwa, who show up looking a hot mess and who are not professional. Don't be those people. You know, the same standards apply that apply to your, you know, business job in America. Show up, look nice, be genki, do your job, and it's not a hard adjustment at all.
No. And Japanese business culture is its own beast. Like the salaryman, there's a lot of long hours, there's a lot of like priorities that have to be rearranged. But I think that teaching doesn't fall within that. It's sort of like a fringe thing. And as a foreigner, you're not held to those same standards.
Yes.
So it's not so bad.
As far as balancing work, socializing, and traveling, I think all of us travel a lot. Socializing, you know, I might not go out every night after work. I could if I wanted to, but I choose not to because I have other things that are important to me. But, you know, most weekends I spend at least one day with my friends. I do something fun with my friends. It's all, about what you want to make time for.
It can
But
be
there's
frustrating
definitely
if
time.
you're working weekends, though, not to match up with regular friends' schedules.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. But it's still possible to make time for it if that's important to you. Yeah. Next question. Jacob Randall asks, got any housing tips? And Forrest Bierman asks, how long did it take you to find housing? So here is my housing advice for you. If you know for a fact that you will be here for more than 1 year, don't let your company pick your housing. Don't do it, because it's easy. Sure, they've set everything up for you. Sure, some of the places will pay your housing costs startup. Sure. However, it is a lot more expensive. Living in the countryside, I paid the exact same price for my housing as I'm paying living in a city. And that's absolutely ridiculous. My apartment in the city is bigger than my apartment in the countryside. It's the same price, all because I didn't let my company pick my housing. Now, there's a misconception that it's hard to find housing if you are a foreigner and you are looking for your own housing. And there are several real estate companies that you can go through who do all of the heavy lifting for you, who are your guarantor.
They specialize in helping
for less than
foreigners.
$100, who specialize in foreigners, who do all of the communication for you. And it was so easy. I literally went on a website. I told them the general area that I wanted to live in. I told them my pricing budget, and I was responded to within a week with at least 10 locations that they thought would be good for me. Scrolled through all of the apartments, picked the one I liked the most, told them I liked it. They asked for some of my qualifications as far as, how much money are you making? We need to check this or check that. Told me what all of the costs would be. And all of my startup costs, including my apartment that I chose is not furnished, so I had to, buy everything, was less than what it would cost me for the difference in rent if I had gone with another choice and let my company choose the housing. The refurbished shops here are incredible. You can get a brand spanking new fridge that, maybe somebody used for a week and decided they wanted one different, or just Japanese people take good care of their stuff. And you'll spend less than $100 on that fridge.
And there's always people coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Facebook board called Sayonara Sales.
Mm-hmm.
So when people leave, they sell their stuff for really cheap because they just need to get rid of it.
Yep.
And as you're coming in, you're like, oh, well, thank you. I'll take that.
Any way
furniture
to get a
stuff.
name of that real estate company or a link?
I think it was called Best Estate. I think that was the one that I used. I actually, shameless self-plugging here. If you go on my YouTube channel, I talk about this in one of my videos, and there's links to a lot of the places that I used in the description of the YouTube video. But I think it was called Best Estates.
ABC housing is a big one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
good
that's something you guys can do before you get here. If you have a job and you're lined up to come, you can find an English speaking agency in your area, contact them, so that when you get here, they already know what you want and they can help you.
Yep. It's super easy. Super, super easy.
Kelsie,
Kelsie, do you have anything to add to that?
housing stuff.
No.
All right. Last
I wish I'd
question.
done that.
Done the find your housing yourself. Yeah. I wish I had my first 2 years here. I was very disillusioned, and I did not know that I was way overpaying and that there were other options. So I wish I had as well. But it is what it is. So learning experience. All right. Next question. Caitlin Pruitt asks, how common is it, if at all, to find schools that are willing to help pay for airfare, housing, and other startup costs? I assume not, since the market is rather competitive.
Well, my first company, it was sort of a startup. It was based in Korea. It's the English Village. I work at the Village. and they paid for all of their teachers to come from America. And large companies such as Nova, maybe Interac, definitely Jet. No, not Jet. She's shaking her head. Bigger companies, it's much more likely.
Not Interac.
Not Interac. Okay. Larger companies, it is much more likely that they will pay. It's not common, but it's definitely possible. It does happen.
Mm-hmm.
My flight here was paid for.
My flight was paid for. Nova does 50% up front in your first paycheck, and then 50% when you finish your contract.
Robin, was your flight paid for, or if you're here?
No, it was not. No, Interac doesn't pay for flights.
Oh, okay. Rebecca? No, she's shaking her head no. Okay.
But there are companies that do.
You can find it. Housing, it's sometimes you'll get a stipend. Sometimes they will assist you in paying for housing, but it is also unlikely that they're going to provide housing for you.
Yes, Nova, when they set me up, they paid for my like startup costs for my housing. However, sneaky little guys, at the very end when you move out, they charge you a $500 cleaning fee, which I know does not cost $500, and it's, I think, their way of getting their startup costs back as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
A lot of other countries, if you haven't gone through the country fact sheets that ITA has created and provided, they're really good.
They're awesome.
Other countries will give you a lot of this stuff because they really want you to come, but Japan's not hurting for people, so you're less likely to be given stuff like that off the bat here.
Absolutely. The people who are already teaching here, do you have anything you would like to add to anything that we already talked about?
Kelsie, Rebecca, Robin?
Regarding my vehicle that I mentioned, I do get a stipend for my gas that I use to drive to and from my schools. However, the rental fee itself, which is about $350 a month, comes out of my pocket, sadly. But I am able to use the car as much as I want outside of work, which is
nice. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm able to drive 45 minutes north to the Costco to buy the special food that I'm not able to buy anywhere else in Japan.
Can you take us?
Costco.
We want to go.
But so in that regard, definitely read the fine print. It was a little bit of a surprise. I thought that part of the fee would be covered by my company, but it wasn't. But it worked out.
Have specific questions like that for your employer when they're pitching you a contract or something. Yep. You don't want to be surprised.
And smartphones. Getting a Japanese smartphone is very important. That you might want to do that.
Yeah. I have a question about phones.
Do not let them lie to you. The big companies will lie to you. I was lied to my first 2 years here, and I'm so angry about it. Sorry. Okay, so they will tell you that your American smartphone will not work. Sorry. Oh, no, it won't work. It's a lie. It's a lie. Your smartphone will work with the SIM card. I do, however, not recommend going with one of the big companies like your Docomo, your AU, because they are really expensive. If you go to a Yodobashi, which is basically like a big department store, they have in Yodobashi a ton of cell phone companies, including those big ones. Now, when you walk in, you can go to one of the little counters that has like a list of some smaller companies. Tell them what you're looking for. A lot of them run specials during different times of year, so they'll tell you what is the best company to go with at that time based on price.
Bring a Japanese friend.
I did it by myself.
It's kind of overwhelming though.
If you are in a big city with a Yodobashi, they speak English. If you are in a smaller city, go with the Japanese friend.
Not here.
If you have a coworker who is Japanese, a lot of them will go with you. All you have to do is ask. They won't necessarily offer, but if you ask, they will go with you. And so like my phone now is an American iPhone that has Japanese service on it with a Japanese SIM card, and it costs me less than $20 a month for 6 gigs of data and I have a phone number.
It's a very good plan if your phone can be unlocked to bring the phone that you like that you're using.
Mhm.
Make sure you unlock it before you go and simply put in a SIM card.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Kyra, specifically, what was your question about phones?
Yeah, so that was mostly my question because I was wondering. I was mostly wondering because it's been the thing that's been weighing on me.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I
it's-
have a smartphone, so I'll probably just do that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be in Kanazawa specifically,
Mm.
Uh-huh.
so hopefully that's big enough.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't let them lie to you, though.
I won't.
Make sure it's unlocked before you go.
Mhm.
Yeah,
How do you
gotcha.
unlock a phone?
You
Like,
just
you have to
take
go
it
to
to
your
you take it to your
service provider?
provider. A lot of them can
Telephone.
actually do it like from over the phone. So all you have to do is call them and say, "Hey, I'm moving to Japan. Can you make sure my phone's unlocked and I can use it there?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool." no
There's some
problem."
catch-22s. If it's too new, sometimes they don't want to do it. But
Yeah,
Or
it
they
depends
would
on your
say-
phone provider.
I worked with Verizon Wireless customer service a few years before this.
Mm.
The phone, you need to have paid for it completely. You need to own it. Usually, if you've had the account for at least a year, because they'll have to run a minor credit check to unlock a phone. At least Verizon does. When you call them, just answer the questions right, and they should be able to unlock it for you. Otherwise, if it's a new account, it's a new phone, you're unlikely to get that particular phone unlocked because they've had too many scams of people getting an account, buying the phones, immediately unlocking them, disappearing, paying for everything with a stolen credit card. So
If
Or
it's
you
if it's
can buy
paid
an
for,
unlocked phone too if
Yeah.
you need a new one.
if your
Yes,
phone is
that
paid
too.
for, they will unlock it because like this is a brand new iPhone 10 and they unlocked it right away. I had my dad actually buy it and send it over because I didn't want the Japanese one. I wanted the American one because the Japanese one you cannot turn off the sound to take pictures.
No.
And it's
Yeah.
really irritating. So I wanted the American one. So I just had my dad buy it, unlock it, mail it to me, and I paid for the phone.
I have a Samsung Galaxy and I bought it online and brought it here.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have questions that we have not covered? Something totally different that you want to hear about?
I was gonna speak more on the phone.
Sure.
I know when I was there, they don't have anything outside of contracts. So for service, are you getting like monthly, but like rental ones, or?
So
Yeah.
some companies offer 6-month contracts. Some companies offer as little as a year. I'm under a year contract with my phone because I know that I'm going to be here at least a year, but I do pay monthly for it. One of my best friends here, she is under a 6-month contract with her phone, and she also pays monthly for it. There were no major upfront costs. If you go with the big companies, that's when they're like, oh, it has to be a 2-year contract. Oh, you have to pay this entire thing up front. But if you go with one of the smaller companies that are more foreigner friendly, it's a better situation.
Do you know what company you're using?
I'm with IIJ Neo. I think you actually say it Ejimo. I don't know. But it's IIJ Neo.
Mine's very simple and straightforward. I pay monthly, so I can cancel at any time. It's only by month. And I have a SIM card. It's a knockoff of Docomo, which is one of the big ones. It's called GTN Mobile. And I highly recommend it. It's tailored.
Actually.
Oh yeah, it's tailored to help foreigners. So maybe you can't do any like heavy like video streaming while you're out, but you have unlimited data, and if you have a phone number, and if you make a call, you pay extra for those minutes. But if you don't pay for it.
Do you even need the Japanese number, or I see most people just use the apps?
The Japanese number is useful because when you sign up for certain things like a bank, you have to have a phone number.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it without a phone number. So unless you have somebody whose phone number you can use because they love you, you are going to be in a lot of situations where they're like, well, what's your phone number? What's your phone number? And you're like,
Your employers also want to have a way to contact you. Not that they necessarily will, but if they know they can reach you at this number,
yeah, you can get by without the phone number. My first 2 years here, I had pocket Wi-Fi because I thought that was my only option. And I didn't have a phone number, but luckily my staff at one of my locations I was working at was, you know, very quickly like my sister, and she just let me use her phone number for everything. She's an angel, but that's not, you know, always an option for everybody.
Well, I like that I'm not paying for minutes unless I use them. So I have a number, but it's not costing me.
Yeah, same.
Kelsie, what phone service do you use?
Mine is Sakura Mobile. So like Cherry Blossom, Sakura Mobile, and I pay month by month as well. And I have a phone number. So like if I sign up for stuff, I can receive texts, like if I need a code or something. But I just have data.
You mostly just use data.
Yeah.
But it's good to have the number.
Yeah. I don't
Charlotte,
pay
what
for
was
my
your
minutes
company
unless I
called?
use them.
GTN.
GTN. I like the unlimited data thing. That's
Yeah, it's nice because mostly that's what you're using is data on your own. So
right.
GTN mobile.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
Don't be shy.
I do have one comment. As far as those who plan to drive here, it is nice beforehand in your capital city of whatever state you come from, you can get a driving abstract from the DMV. That really helps to move along the paperwork for getting that done. Otherwise, you have to write out your entire history, and they go all the way back to like to some of us at 15 when we had our permits, and they want everything.
The more
If you just get the
details,
driving abstract, that's enough.
Yeah. The more details you have about how you learn to drive, how many hours, if you have a certificate from a driving school, I brought a copy of that with me. If you are from any other state in the United States, besides Washington and Rhode Island have some special thing, they're going to make you take the driving test, and many people call it the foreigner tax, with good reason.
Yeah,
Because what the driving
pass.
in the driving test is not actually how you would drive in real life. It is a very caricatured version of driving where you have to like turn your head a certain way. You have to look under the car before you get in, and you have to basically many people have taken it and said the same thing. You just have to do it to pass, and usually it takes like 2
appearances
or
are
3
very important.
or 5 times, and it costs like $40 each time or $35. There's a whole site dedicated to tips from previous foreigners taking the test and how to, pay for a class they'll let you drive on the course that you're going to take the test on. And it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's good though, Robin. Like bring that stuff.
Only
beforehand.
applies if you need to get the license though. Your IDP will cover you for a year.
Yeah. If you're short term, like a year or less, an international driver's permit should be fine. And you can get that from the DMV very cheap and easy. It's much harder to apply from here.
I got mine at
It's
AAA.
actually not.
Yeah, I got mine at AAA. Yeah, AAA was way cheaper than the DMV.
Yes,
Oh, not
that's what I did too.
sorry, not DMV, AAA.
Yeah.
DMV is
AAA.
never.
DMV was like
I was wrong.
$120, and AAA was like $30.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
AAA.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
You can get the permit from AAA from here, but it's more of a process. You have to have somebody back home who's willing to go in and physically turn in the paperwork for you. But it is possible. So if you get here and then you're like, no, I don't need a license, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should have a license.
I'm in the middle of doing it now.
All you
It's
have to do
much
is be
easier
like,
at home to
somebody who
first.
loves me, hey, can you help me? Can you print this and take it in and whatever,
and forge my signature.
forge my signature? Yeah, and it's fine.
What I did was did it online and then put it on a flash drive and then went to 7-Eleven, printed it out, signed it, and then mailed it in. And then, and then my mom helped me,
Yeah,
actually going there and be
Depending
like,
on
okay, this
contact.
is the thing.
yeah. You have to have somebody who's willing to do that for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah. Okay, so maybe I'm just like not understanding, but I thought it through going through ITA, and you guys are ITA alumni?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
right. So
I think
But you guys have been
everybody in
talking
here is
about
involved in ATA.
right. I thought, I'm just making sure.
No, it's okay.
But you guys were talking about going through Interac or a JET or, stuff like that. I thought going through ITA, you just, you take the TEFL class and then you apply to a school directly. And
There's a lot
So,
of different ways.
There's a lot of
you-
ways, yeah.
you guys did ITA and then joined other programs?
These companies,
or-
they're
Yes.
dispatch companies. So basically, ITA gives you your opportunities. It opens more doors for you, which is absolutely amazing. And they have so many good resources that you can find online for looking for jobs. They will check your
contracts.
resume and everything for you, which is
Contract.
beautiful. But you can apply directly to schools. It's more difficult to get a job directly through a school unless you're already in Japan. If you're already here, then you can go to the interviews and you can be there for them. But a lot of the schools will not hire you if you're already outside of Japan. Interac is a dispatch company, so you're not working directly for the school, you're working for Interac, and they send you to whatever school that you're assigned to. Nova is an Eikaiwa, like Peppy Kids, and you're working for their schools, and they tell you what school you're going to. Her situation, she works for the schools pretty much.
I started off at a full-time school and I've kind of evolved because once you're here, it's easier to sort of branch out. I think maybe where you're confused is that ITA is a certification, so
Right.
you study through the academy to receive your certification, and then it's up to you to find your job.
I just didn't know it was so common for people to then go into, programs that would help place them and stuff like that.
They're not programs, they're companies, they're dispatch companies. They're
So it's like an umbrella for schools.
yeah, it's like these companies are hired by the schools to hire teachers.
Yeah, we have Linda here. She might be able to shed some light on it more. No, her
Hey.
earphones are out right now.
I'm actually here. I could be
Erica,
I'm
what up?
Erica. I'm not going to
Hey.
put my video on because I'm at home and that's weird. But I'm a student affairs advisor at ITA. I've also worked with Charlotte closely as an ambassador. Caitlin, I think what you're asking a little bit about is what we refer to in our materials as recruiters. And you guys are doing like a really good job at talking about it, and I think it's really just a difference of language here. Caitlin, I'm going to send you over an email, and I do have your email address here. I think it's a good time for you to get connected with a student affairs advisor who can help you with that cover letter, that resume, and then to better understand the differences between these government programs. Like Interact does do part of government programs, as well as JET, which is a government program. They're all very different. They can be confusing. Just fill out the form to get connected with one of us, and we'll help you understand that process a little bit more.
Awesome. I'd really appreciate that. I only just started the TEFL class last week, so I haven't even started the real job hunt or anything like that.
Yeah, of course. New and excited. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. Girls, you're welcome to wrap up whenever you're ready.
Thanks for weighing in, Erica.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the
Yes,
reasons
thank
why
you.
I chose ITA was because it's not just getting your TEFL certificate. You take the class, and the class is really good, and you learn a lot. But then after that, they do so much to help you.
Yeah,
they will do the cover letter.
support.
They have the information that's available is wonderful. And I know it's much better to reach out to people who are here now, but make sure you read their material. And the alumni
The
network
material's
has
great.
just been invaluable. I've met so many people asking questions. Shanna does YouTube videos. She's our video ambassador, and she has a lot of information in her videos that she's already published. So I definitely recommend that you check out her stuff for getting general information. I post a lot of pictures of Japan
great
if
idea.
you just want to see it. Kelsie, are you social media or
Yes.
writing?
Social
So she
media.
also has a great amount of stuff. So check out all the stuff that we've already put out too. If you want to contact us via email, Instagram, we're all
Instagram
pretty
messaging
active
is
on
the best
Instagram.
way, I think.
Please send us any personal questions separately, and be happy to help you at any point during your process.
Mhm.
Yes.
Reach out
Yeah.
to everybody.
Yeah,
See
we're all
friends.
we're all available, and we'll do our best to help you. The alumni network with ITA is amazing. Like it really, really is, and it, I think, has made the difference for a lot of us. We wouldn't know each other if it weren't for ITA, and she's, you know, become my best friend here. We're together all the time. We do lots of crazy adventures and, you know, get into
We're
Japan
gonna
travel.
absorb Kelsie next week
Yeah.
when she comes to visit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm coming to Kyoto, so we're gonna hang out.
Yeah, and when you go to other
Lucky.
countries traveling, you can, you know,
I've
reach
met
out to
alumni
ITA
in different
people.
countries before. Yeah.
Yeah, who will give you lots of advice on where to go and what to do. And if you decide, you know, you want to teach in Japan for a year, 2 years, and then you want to go somewhere else, like, there's that network there, and you can always reach back to the ITA staff, and they'll help you again with your resume and with their interview process. It's awesome.
You know, your certification is forever, and also your access to all this great information is forever. So
Yeah.
That was
And you'll
number
have-
one why I did it too.
You'll have a huge
It's a
leg
good
up on the
choice.
teachers who are starting without the certification. Like, because Japan right now doesn't require a certification overall. Some places do. But when I started, I was a hell of a lot more comfortable than all the other teachers who started at the same time as me. And it was a lot easier for me getting into the classroom and sitting in front of the students because I had that practicum experience and I had the tools that I learned from ITA and I was able to use them. And had I not had that, it would have been a lot more difficult for me as well. So... yeah, so I think Kelsie just posted her information in the chat if you would like to follow her and send her questions or anything. Feel free. I will also post our information in the chat for you. Feel free to ask us any questions. Like she said, I have lots of YouTube videos about Japan and different
Tokyo
things that I've done here, and different informational pieces, but you can always feel free to reach out as well.
Awesome.
So you
Thank
guys,
you
thanks
guys.
so much. Yeah, thanks for staying tuned
Thank
for
you.
everything. Yeah, happy to do more.
If you
So.
come in the next few years, you may be here for the Olympics. Good luck with that.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, James, you coming for the Olympics?
looking for. Yeah. I'm
hoping to get out before the flood.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be terrible. Yeah.
I might be going to China this year if I don't get, well, most likely because
Ooh.
Japan take too long.
Yeah.
So,
It's, yeah.
but 2020 is a good day. The last question actually is, can you do successive years for the programs there, or you can only do 1 year at a time for a while?
Some places will offer you more than a year contract, straight out. Some places, most places, it's 6 months or 1 year. But you do have the option to renew as long as you show up on time and do a good job. I worked at Nova for 2 years. They do offer a renewal bonus. So when you renew your contract, when you finish your contract, you get a big chunk of money. My bonus for renewing and for finishing, when I finished my first year, I got $5,000, which was great. Some companies don't offer those renewal bonuses. I don't think Interact does. However, I just wanted a different experience. And I will have the opportunity, hopefully, if I continue to do a good job, to work for Interact again next year.
And as you guys have a lot of questions for us, make sure you ask your employers a lot of questions. Don't be afraid of turning them off. Ask about the completion bonus. Ask about the airfare. Ask about how they're going to take taxes out. Stuff you want to know beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's okay to annoy them. No, I'm just
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you guys. Should we call that a wrap?
Yeah, I think we're good to wrap up.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. And thanks, Charlotte, Shana, and Kelsie. That was fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
See ya.
tuning in,
Thank
y'all.
you.
Bye.